Well, hello and welcome to the Bede School Open Morning. Of course, we'd love to be able to see you in the flesh, but hopefully meeting us on the screen is the next best thing. My name is John Chewson. I'm the Deputy Head at Bede's, and I've got three fantastic people here along with me. I'm going to introduce them very, very quickly. So the first of those people is our head girl, Lily Longdon. Hello, Lily. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, Lily. Where are you joining us from, Lily, today?
Sussex.
Home in East Sussex, fantastic. And Rodrigo is our head boy. Rodrigo, where are you joining us from?
I am home in Italy.
Home in Italy, much more exciting than East Sussex, possibly. Whereabouts in Italy are you, Rodrigo?
In Tuscany, near Pisa.
Tuscany, superb. And then the final helper we have with us is Miss Devereux, who is both a house mistress, she's in charge of Bloomsbury House, and she's also in charge of our exams process. So it's been a very quiet last year for us because nothing exciting has been happening in the world of exams. Hello, Miss Devereux.
Hello, and I'm speaking to you from East Sussex as well.
Fantastic. I am speaking to you from Bede School itself, which is very exciting indeed. So we've got a few questions about what it's like to join the school in the first year, which I'm going to try and answer. Rodrigo and Lily are going to try and answer. I'm sure Miss Devereux, in her role as a house mistress, will be able to answer. Rodrigo and Lily, in some ways, are the best qualified people to answer because they are students. They're fantastic students. The reason they're here is they're fantastic students. However, I must, in the interest of being totally honest, I must tell you that neither of them was here in the first year. They both joined us later on in their school careers. But that doesn't mean they haven't got a huge amount to say here because they've worked alongside first-year students. They've seen first-year students. They know friends of theirs, obviously, who were first-year students and had that experience themselves. So, Ms. Devereux, what is the first question that we have posed to discuss now?
Right, how does the house and tutoring system work at Bede's?
Okay, well, you're probably the best person to answer that question, but it'd be a bit weird if you answered your own question. I'm going to ask Lily. Lily, you are in what house? What's your house system?
I'm in Crossways and I'm a day boarder in Crossways.
So what is a day boarder? Just very quickly tell us that.
So a day boarder, I always think of it as a mix between a day girl and a boarder. So I come into school the same time as all the day students and do all my work at school. I do all my lessons. I've got a locker inside the boarding house, and then I do all my prep there, eat dinner there, and then I can get the late bus home, and essentially I just sleep at home.
Fantastic. And Rodrigo, presumably if you live in Tuscany, you are a real boarder.
Yep, I am a full boarder in stud.
And tell me, what does it mean to be in a particular house? Does that mean you're only ever in that house and you don't get to know people in other houses, or what? How does that work?
No. The house system is basically stud becomes your home from home, and that's where you stay at night and where you do your work and where you live. But you get to socialise with all the other houses throughout the day. And you get to be involved in the wider school community.
Fantastic. So Liz, you as a house mistress, your house is a day house. Mm-hmm. Students who come in the morning and leave usually at sort of 5 o'clock in the evening, but sometimes can stay longer as well, particularly when times are not quite so exciting as they are at the moment. And Liz, tell me from your perspective what it's like house and what the purpose of the house system is.
So I think it was someone who just said it was a home from home, and I think that's how you've got to view your house. Your house is your home when you're in school. It's the place where you come at break times, lunch times after you've had your meal, where you register at lunchtime, and it's a place where you can just have some downtime. You can sit, you can chat to your friends, you can relax. If you do choose to stay late, you can have toast, you can have tea, you can have hot chocolate. So it's really your home from home, the place where you can relax, but also get support from your tutors. There's always a member of staff on duty. So if you've got any queries or you just want to ask somebody something, somewhere where you can always go for a bit of help, advice, support, bit of fun. And also we get to do house comps, of course, so a little bit of challenge there as well. And
so as a parent, what would be my contact with you as a house mistress?
So the contact for parents will be the tutor. So each of the children is assigned a tutor. You may have a tutor group of anywhere between sort of 6 to 12, depending on the house and the way in which the house operates the tutor system. And the tutor is the first port of call for parents. So the tutor will be in contact with parents regularly, parents in contact with tutors. So that's your first port of call. And the tutor is the sort of conduit between the parents, the child, making sure that everything's moving smoothly, particularly when you join the school, whether that's in first year, lower sixth, or anywhere else in the school. They're your point of contact.
Fantastic. And just in case people don't know this who are joining us, we've got 10 houses in the school. They're single sex houses, 6 boys' houses, 4 girls' houses, 5 of the houses are day houses, 5 are boarding houses, and they've all got slightly different characters and slightly different qualities to them. Brilliant. Thank you very much. Liz, what's the second question we've got?
So can you please tell me about the academic curriculum in the first year? How does this help prepare pupils for their GCSEs?
Okay, very good question. So I'm probably the best person to answer this one. So in the first year, students will study all of the things you'd expect them to study: English, maths, science, and quite a heavy emphasis on those core subjects, with the thinking being that if you master English, maths, and science, everything else sort of falls into place a little bit. But alongside that, we have various carousels operating, giving students the opportunity to experience as much as they possibly can, all those subjects which they might want to go on and study further down the line, or they might not. So humanities carousel, they do geography and history and politics and religious studies. They'll do art carousels where they do various different creative subjects, and not just art, actually other things as well, design, technology maybe. They'll do, my favourite area of the curriculum is a thing we call 21st century studies, where they get to do things that might not lead to GCSEs, but will be interesting, hopefully. So they'll do some cooking, they'll spend some time in our zoo learning about conservation, they'll spend some time with our media department learning about filmmaking, and so on. So lots of interesting different things going on. And then if they want to do some of those more esoteric subjects, they can do those as well. So things like Latin or drama, or maybe an obscure foreign language other than the mainstream foreign languages that they want to learn. All of those things are available too as part of that first year curriculum. And the hope is that by giving children that full array of different things they can experience, they can then go on and find their home and the things that they're going to enjoy doing for GCSEs. But hopefully it's not just about preparing them for GCSEs, it's about having an enjoyable time and liking what they're doing. Is that a good enough answer, Ms. Devereux?
Thank you.
Let me just ask the two
Thank you very
students, Rodrigo and Lily, they weren't here in the first year, but they did do their GCSEs and they're now nearing the end of their A-level courses. What courses have they enjoyed? Rodrigo, what course have you enjoyed the most of all? If you had to pick one subject that you've really enjoyed in your time at Beeds, what's it been?
I'd say
sorry, go on.
At GCSE or at A-level?
Either. What have you enjoyed most of all?
I'd say politics.
Tell me why.
I think politics, I took it for A-level, and it was a subject that I was not entirely convinced about taking, and it's now something that I plan to study at university. So it really has taken a hold on me
fantastic. And if Rodrigo had been here in the first year, he would have had a chance to study a bit of politics as well. Lily, how about you? What's been your most enjoyable subject over the last 4.5 years, would you say?
I think similarly to Rodrigo, chemistry for me, just because I didn't really have the confidence in it when I first started Beeds, but then near the end, I'm now hoping to do it at university, and I think it's just the support that I got in that department was really amazing.
Fantastic. With Miss Fanat Duclos, who's the head of chemistry and is a fantastic teacher. Brilliant. Miss Devereux, back over to you. What's our next question to deal with?
It links in quite nicely with what you were saying about how not everything is about academic curriculum in the first year, and how we try and involve students in a little bit of fun as well. So how does the co-curricular programme work? What kind of activities can a child get involved with at Beeds?
Fantastic. Well, I think that's, again, I'm going to sit back and let the two students answer that, because they'll do a far better job than me. So Lily, why don't you kick us off? Tell us a little bit about the co-curricular programme.
At Beeds, there is a very wide variety of different activities you can do. At the start of the year, there's an activities fair where all the teachers kind of promote their activities to everyone. You can go around and see what you'd quite like to do. For me, my favourite activity has always been Cabaret, which is an annual event which combines dance, music and drama, and it goes along with a 3-course meal, and it's a very standout event of the whole school, and I think everyone really looks forward to coming. And
So tell us what happened this year with Cabaret, because obviously with another, it wasn't possible to have a big event with several people squeezed together in a hall. So tell us what happened instead.
this year we all did the rehearsals socially distanced and in a safe manner, and then we were able to get in touch with the media department as well, and we filmed it all and then live streamed it all to the school, so we still had that sense of community with everyone watching it together. And we still had the gym and the MPH, what we call transforming, and with all the lights and dancers, and it actually turned out really, really well.
I was a bit skeptical of how it would turn out, but it was stunning, and some brilliant singing from Lily as well. And Lily, has it been only music for you, or other things as well that you've been involved with?
I have tried to get a bit more into sport. I've tried 3 new sports. I'm on the football team. I'm not good at any of them, but I think what's good about Beads is they're the first teams where it's really competitive and you have to be really good. But then there's also a lot of other teams where if you just want to kick a ball around and have a bit of fun, that's really enjoyable too. And it's really nice for meeting people as well.
Fantastic. Rodrigo, how about you? What activities have you been involved with over your time at the school?
Well, I in a similar fashion to Lily, I've been involved in sports quite a lot. I think Beads has allowed me to explore a different array of sports, such as tennis, rugby, football, just to name a few. And these aren't sports that I am necessarily very good at, but I've enjoyed, taking part in them. And as Lily said, there are lots of teams, which means that there's the extremely competitive side of the sport, but then there's also.
So on a practical level, just explain for people who are listening how it works activity. Lily mentioned that you pick things at the start of the term. There's an activities fair. What then happens during a normal week? And obviously at the moment things are somewhat different because we're not physically in the school, but in a normal time, what would happen during the week activity-wise?
Well, there are 3 activity slots a week. You have one where they're divided on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and I think they last a couple of hours each. And it's a sort of recurring pattern every week.
And are you doing it just with people from your own year or people from other year groups as well?
You're doing it with people from, obviously depending on what the activity is, but most of the time you're doing with people from different year groups and different houses, and
Fantastic. And Liz, you're obviously a house mistress, so you're not getting involved in participating in activities necessarily, but when you see the things that your students are doing, what are the ones that leap out at you as being ones that you wish that you could have done if you were 15 years old again?
There is almost too much to choose from for me, but I could narrow it down to car maintenance. I think that would be really helpful and useful. And in fact, probably now the jogging for fun, mainly because not everyone has to jog. And so you can actually walk for fun. And just the idea of getting out in the countryside would be a lovely idea at this particular point.
I like the idea of jogging for fun if it doesn't involve jogging, I must admit. But the jogging part rather puts me off. Ms. Devereaux, what's our next question?
How do we support pupils when they've just joined the school, particularly if they don't know many people?
Okay, that's a very good question. And I think it would be very handy if the house mistress amongst us could answer it, because she's the one who's at that cutting edge. So Liz, why don't you talk through that a little bit?
So we're thinking about first year. It's really important that we get friendship groups spread across in first year quite quickly, because it's quite a daunting prospect to join the senior school. We do that through a variety of different ways, and each house might do things slightly differently, but generally the similarities lie in most houses will have a buddy system. So that might be a buddy with someone in the year group above, or it might be a buddy with someone in the sixth form. In Blooms, we have sort of more like a big sister supporting, in a way, mentoring and sometimes coaching style of role. And so a first year should be assigned someone who's going to come alongside them. For example, where do I go for this lesson? Where's the O rooms? Where is PE? Where is media? So someone who they can go to. And in fact, for the first few days, they may actually go with them to their first lesson. So that just helps them orientate themselves within the school. But then hopefully we'll be back to having wonderful events like picnics, video evenings, pizza afternoon. So, and also just making sure that they have fun with friends, because that's one of the best ways of getting to know other people. So we sort of help them all the way through school, and they should have someone in their house who's their buddy, who they can go to outside of the staff, and the teachers are there to support as well.
And when you say we, I think that's you as a member of staff, but it's also the senior students within the house, people like Rodrigo.
Absolutely, sorry, yes, the senior students.
Absolutely, and I was talking to a first-year boy in Rodrigo's house start this last week, and I was giving them a quiz about the history of the school, and one of the questions was, who is the head boy and the head girl? And this boy told me that when he first met Rodrigo, for the first month of the year, he thought Rodrigo was one of the teachers in the school. Because Rodrigo had such a nice manner to him. So in the house, presumably you two guys are quite heavily involved in looking after new students, not just in the first year, but all the way through, looking after new students and helping people to settle in. Lily, how would that look in practical terms? What are you doing to help those younger students settle in their school?
Well, as prefects, either that being house prefects or school prefects, at the beginning of the year, we always hold different events to help, like Miss Devereaux said, kind of integrate everyone and allow people to get to know people. So say, for example, in my house, we did a rounders tournament at lunchtime with all the year groups in Crossways, and it just allowed people to get to know each other. Now in these circumstances, every break time we hold what we call common room chats, where a prefect will be on duty and first years and lower fifth can come onto the Google Meet and we can just have a chat about things. And I think it really builds the community of the house, because they're like relationships between year groups.
Fantastic. And you might, I would say this, wouldn't I? But I do think one of the marks of this place is that the children are incredibly nice to each other. And I think the way that the older students look out for the younger students and the way that the younger students respect those older students is absolutely a wonderful aspect of the school. And there's no sense of older students looking down on younger students or being dismissive of them in any way at all. Rodrigo, how are things in Studhouse when it comes to helping people integrate into the school?
Well, it's very similar as it is in Crossways. You know, a phrase I like to use is that it's a brotherhood, and everyone gets on really well with everyone else. And for example, in the first few weeks, we tend to organise we play lots of board games, or we organise football matches. And you know, it's sort of just making sure that everyone's involved. And one of the roles of the prefects that comes in the prefect handbook is to ensure that all students are being proactive, and if you notice that someone's feeling down, it's your job to ensure that they're being dragged into activities. So it is really just making sure everyone's sort of mingling around in the house and mixing with everyone.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you very much, both of you. Ms. Devereaux, do we have time for one more question?
We do. How does the academic reporting work, and how would someone understand what progress their child is making?
Okay, I'll answer that one. You have the interesting questions to answer, and I've got perhaps the less exciting question, but very important question to answer. So over the course of the year, we want, and whether that's the first year or actually subsequent years as well, we want students to have lots of opportunities to show the level they've reached. But at the same time, we've got to recognise that you can't keep on testing and testing and testing and testing children. It's got to be a sensible balance. So I think we strike that sensible balance. So at certain points across the year, there will be formal assessments, enough to keep children working, enough to give them some sense of direction, but not so much that it becomes something that is depressing and drags people down. And then those assessments are reported back on to parents, and approximately twice a term, parents will get feedback, written feedback from their child's teachers. In addition, once a year, there's a formal parent-teacher consultation meeting, which, with one thing and another, we're doing online at the moment. And to be honest, even if things do return to normal, we'll probably carry on doing online because it works so much more easily for parents, not having to rush to school to meet teachers on an evening. But beyond that as well, I would say that one of the glories of a school like this is that teachers are available for parents. And as a teacher, I have my classes, and I regard my relationship with my students' parents to be not quite as important as my relationship with the students, but nearly as important, because I've got to keep those parents informed as to how those students are getting on. And I'm very, very often in contact with them over and above just simply the reporting structure and the parent consultation time. I don't know how you as a student feel, but Lily, let's take you as an example. Presumably you would feel that your parents have got quite a good handle on how you're things.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if I'm ever feeling kind of uncertain about anything, I either go to my tutor and then my tutor contacts my parents, or in the same way I can go to my parents and my parents will contact my tutor. I think the communication between both my teachers and my parents is really, really strong.
Fantastic. And it has to be. That's if our communication with parents isn't good, we're not doing a very good job. So it has to be absolutely key, I think. Is that it for our questions, Ms. Devereux?
Well, I think it'd be nice just to ask Rodrigo whether he's had any highlights, and then Lily the same. What have been your highlights?
Well, I'd say this is going to sound quite generic, but my whole time at Beads has been my highlight. Just the support I've received has been immense, both in helping me to excel and flourish in my strengths, but also helping to sort of strengthen my weaknesses. So I would just highlight my whole time at Beads.
Fantastic.
Thank you. How about you, Lily?
Yeah, I think just the opportunities that I've been given throughout my whole time. I think the opportunities with Cabaret and trying to like excel in the performance side, but then also academics and applying to Oxbridge, and also just meeting some fantastic people.
Fantastic. Lovely answers. So Lily and Rodrigo, thank you ever so much for joining us. Ms. Dev, thank you for that as well. And thank you to anyone who's been watching this. And I hope it has made you think that Beads is a place that's worth investigating further. Thank you very much.